Hello everyone, it's the Canadian Futures Trader here. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the video. Today's video, I'm going to be going over Apteros Trading, proprietary firm, started by Merritt Black. We're going to get to all of that. First things first, I want to mention, I know this video is going to be rather long, so I put timestamps down below if you want to jump ahead to a certain spot. And essentially what I want to do is walk you through Apteros Trading, what they offer, kind of the specs of their funded trader evaluation program. And in the second half of the video, I'm going to be doing kind of the pros and cons comparison to all the other prop firms that I'm familiar with and I've currently gone through. I'm kind of treating them as one group while they each individually, yes, have different rules and whatnot. For the sake of ease, we're going to take them as one group and compare it to Apteros, who is remarkably different. The way I'm going to say this up front, if you don't want to watch the whole video, Apteros is putting out a premium product in the funded trader evaluation space. So along with that, guys, it's going to take longer to pass. It's going to cost more money. But on the flip side, you get mentoring, you get coaching, you get evaluated on your actual performance. So one way I thought of it is where with all the other firms, you have a specific goal, right? Reach this profit goal, trade this number of days, done. You pass and you get your funded account. But your funded account is also very specific to the evaluation you took. With Apteros, they're much more performance-based focused. You're not being evaluated just on reaching the goal, but how you got there. The person who just home runs it and tries to pass in a few days isn't going to get quite as great an offer as the person who trades for 30 days, shows good risk management, shows consistency. That's the type of trader, honestly, they are ultimately after. So it's up to each of you to decide, do you want the more formal, the little bit longer evaluation program? But on the back end, when you get funded, the reward is your funded account will reflect how you performed and you have the ability to scale it up. If that's not for you, then that's okay too. There's all the other prop firms as well. I mean, I've gone through them myself. And let's go through this video, and at the end, I will tell you guys what my plan is. Will I try out for Apteros, or is it not for me? Stick around and find out. So let's get to it. Let's first just go through what Apteros offers. So a quick about Apteros. It was started by Merritt Black. I'm very familiar with Merritt. He used to work for SMB Capital. They are one of the bigger proprietary firms in New York. They put out quite a bit of content themselves. They are more of a traditional proprietary firm. People actually go to the office. They get the coaching, the mentoring, all of that stuff. So Merritt worked for them. He's been trading for over 15 years, and he was the head of futures and commodities at SMB. So SMB Capital themselves kind of trades a variety of products, not just futures. They also are very heavily focused on just equities, on stocks, whereas Apteros, Merritt's broken off and he's doing just the classic, the futures trading. If you want to learn more about Merritt, I've certainly heard him interviewed before on multiple podcasts. I'm a big fan of the Alpha Mind podcast, so I've heard him interviewed on there. He's been interviewed on a bunch. So if you want to learn more about him, that would be a good place to start. Point being is he's more than qualified to start and run a futures funded trader evaluation. So one thing I wanted to address was it's currently July 2021 and we're going to do this review and overview. Back about 3 or 4 months ago, I did an initial review of Apteros when I very first heard about them, and it was rather abrupt and abrasive, wasn't very flattering. So you might be asking, why the change of heart? Why are you looking to discuss them again? And the reason is I really give hats off to Apteros. They did a complete 180. They revamped their program in every which way, have made it far more attractive. So pretty much a lot of what I said in that initial review doesn't really stand anymore. So that's why I wanted to just revisit it, do it from a fresh slate. I think they're a great option. They're not going to be for everybody, but that's not the point. I wanted to at least put out fair information, which is ultimately why I even started my YouTube channel. I wanted to get information out about the various funded trader evaluation programs. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. The other thing I'll mention, and I promise we'll get to this going through their website, is I also have an article on my website. So it's going to cover a lot of the same information, but in this video I can kind of show you things a little bit better, whereas here in the article I've written it out. So I might make a few references to this article in the video. Just there's a few like examples I give that I've already kind of made here, but we'll get to those. So let's finally get to it, guys. Let's take a look at their funded trader evaluation program. So let's look at these account parameters. $50,000 account size. They only have one account size. I'm putting an asterisk right now next to the $50,000. It's a good asterisk. We're going to explain that in a second. $10,000 profit target, net of commissions, a $4,000 max drawdown. Now I'm going to mention right here as well, there's no trailing drawdown like we're probably used to with some of the other firms. So doing some quick math, you start with 50,000, your max drawdown is 4,000, it doesn't move, so that means the lowest your account balance could ever get to is $46,000, and like I said, that is static, it doesn't move. 1,500 daily loss limits, so this is really the number you need to be a little bit more concerned about day to day, but I think that makes it pretty straightforward as well. You do have to trade a minimum of 30 days. Again, I already know a few of you guys are probably already balking at this a little bit, but give me a chance here to explain it from my point of view. 100% CME margin position, so that's going to relate to the buying power. Going to explain that in a second. Last point though, free gold TraderView account, worth $50 a month. I'll just throw in, I use TraderView myself, I pay for it, it's fantastic. It's essentially trade journaling, but it's more than just journaling. It's really, I use it more for the statistical side. I upload all my trades, I can run reports and stats on all my trades, figure out what I'm doing well, what I'm not, how can I improve. So there's some value in that. You might be saying, how many contracts can I trade? That's what we're all used to, right? You get a $50,000 account elsewhere, you get 5 or 6 contracts you can trade. Apteros treats their evaluation exactly like what I'm going to call the real world. When I have my own brokerage account, how many contracts I can trade depends on the margin rates for the products I'm going to trade and how much capital I have in my account. That's exactly what these guys are doing. You have $50,000 buying power. How many contracts you can trade depends completely on the margin rate. So I'm going to flash over to an example that I actually already wrote out. And they do have a link on their site to go look these up, by the way. It's the CME group. So I trade the 30-year treasury, right? You see right here, this is from the CME group. The maintenance margin is $3,500 intraday. So essentially take $50,000, divide it by that. It works out to just over 14. So I could, in theory, I wouldn't do this, but you could trade, or I could trade, up to 14 30-year bond contracts. I mean, that's about 3 times as many or 2.5 times as many as I would get available elsewhere. So you can't, the point of this is you can't take 50,000 and say, well, I could get a 50,000 account somewhere else and I could trade 6 contracts and not have to deal with these profit targets, etc. Because $50,000 here really represents something different, and you're going to be operating a little bit more how it works out there in the wild. So I don't consider this a bad thing at all. I mean, it's essentially, forget the $50,000 number. Just think, if you want to think in terms of contracts, I could be trading up to 14 contracts. I have a goal of $10,000. Now it probably is much more in line with some of the other evaluation programs. The other thing is trade a minimum of 30 days. I mentioned it up front. I'll say it again. Apteros is looking for traders who really want to prove themselves, demonstrate they have what it takes long term, and want to be rewarded for showing that ability. But they're also going to help you get there with the coaching, the mentoring, all of that stuff. So think of a day, I can think of many days where with other trader evaluation firms, and again, I'm just taking them as a group as a whole, you know, I spiraled out of control, I had a couple losers, I kept going, and I hit my drawdown. Well, you're probably not going to run into that situation at Apteros. You know, they're going to pull you aside virtually and say, hey, you know what, maybe it's time to stop today. Again, it's something different than you're probably used to. You kind of have to decide if it's for you or if it's not. Again, when I originally read it back 3-4 months ago, it was a big no for me, but now that it's kind of sunk in and I'm really wrapping my head around it, it's a very viable option. Let's get to some of the benefits now that they've listed out. So unlimited opportunity to scale your account. I think, to me, this and the coaching and mentoring are like the 2 things that make all of this worthwhile. Coaching and mentoring is invaluable. I've mentioned in just recent videos, I'm starting to work with a trading coach. Any performance sport or activity out there, people have coaching. I'm a little bit familiar with the poker world. All the top level poker players have coaches. It doesn't matter that they're at the top of their game. Coaches help them identify further ways to improve. It's the exact same thing with trading. And the unlimited opportunity to scale, again, this comes in when you get funded. If you can show that you're a Top Gun trader, you can manage the money really well, make smart decisions. It doesn't mean every single day has to be a winning day, not by any means. Just you make smart decisions, you manage your risk really well, you do grow over time. They're going to give you more leeway and give you more opportunity to grow your account. So I already mentioned there's no trailing drawdown. I'm going to get to the commissions on the split in a second. And 24-hour risk desk, a real human monitoring your trades. Again, that kind of goes back to the example I just made up where, if you're a little bit on the spiral side, things aren't going great, you might have somebody step in and say, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to take a break today before you ruin your account. I think that would be good. So on the commission side, you kind of have to take the profit split and the commissions hand in hand. Commissions are far less at Apteros. Again, I have an example in the article, but I'm just going to use very round numbers here. I'm used to paying $4 a round trip with the various trader evaluation programs. Apteros is something like $1.25. It's essentially about 70% less. If you truly go back and look at your stats, even if you've passed one of the trader evaluation programs, you probably gave up quite a bit of profit to commissions. Now, there's a 60-40 split. Again, most other firms are 80-20. People are going to see that. They're going to go, hey, 80-20 is better than 60-40. I don't like it. That was my impression at first, too. They actually have a full, and I don't want to go through it, but they have a full written out example of it. I did my own example as well in the article I wrote. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but just trading how I personally trade. I trade the 30-year. I do about 10 trades a day. Let's say on average I trade 5 lots. I'm going to save about $3,000 a month in commissions under their commission plan versus another one. So yes, you're getting a 60-40 split, but you're getting a 60-40 split on a much bigger number. I've already saved $3,000 and now I'm getting 60-40 on that. Whereas at a higher commission rate, I'm losing 100% of the commissions that I'm giving up. So I'm essentially getting an 80-20 split on a lower number. Of course, it's up to each of you to do the math. All of us trade differently. We trade different volumes. But I just wanted to point that out. Don't see 60-40 and immediately say, that's no good. I'm not interested. That's exactly what I did at first. Really work through the math and see. So the price is $315 a month. I already mentioned there's a 30-day trading minimum. So do some math. You know that you're going to have to pay for 2 months. Again, guys, it's a premium product. You're going to pay more. You're going to have to demonstrate a little bit more proficiency in trading, but you get coaching and mentoring, which, like I said, I'm a huge fan of that. And you have unlimited ability to scale your funded account. This feels like it's about as close to actually sitting in a proprietary firm with a bunch of other traders at a desk with a risk manager, day in and day out, getting evaluated as it could be for being online. So they have frequently asked questions on their site. You can read. I kind of went over the 80-20 split and versus 60-40. Yes, 50K is the only one. Again, I don't want to go through each of these. I talked about the loss limit, the drawdown, 30 trading days, $10,000 net goal. Again, you can expand any of these and read more if you want to. You can read all about the fees here. Permitted times, exact same that you're used to. If you're in one of the other traded evaluations, again, I'm on the West Coast, so I always think of West Coast time. Basically, the trading day starts at 3 p.m. Pacific time, and it ends at 1 p.m. the next day. I mean, the cutoff's usually like 1:10 or something like that. I just call it 1 p.m. and I'm good. Exact same times there. Same as with others. You have to be flat at the end of the day. Supported platforms, again, similar. You can use Rhythmic and RTrader Pro and Sierra, and then of course you can sit NinjaTrader. I use Jigsaw, whatever, on top of those. Maintenance margins here is where you can read about them. They say right here they use 100% CME maintenance margins. Right here, this is clickable. You can open this up and look up your specific products and what those maintenance margins are. So like I said, on the 30-year treasury, it works out to my max would be 14 contracts. Would never trade that in a million years. I don't think I've ever once traded that many contracts at once. But on the flip side, it gives you a lot of scalability, right? Say I was to go into a trade with a 3 lot and starts moving my way and it looks like it's going to keep pushing forward, I can scale in. I have that ability to do so. I personally, again, not to focus too much on myself, but I've really looked more into getting into trading spreads. But in order to trade spreads, you need the ability to put on several different trades at the same time. If I'm only trading like 4 lots, I'm not going to really be able to put on a nice spread. But if I have 14 available to me, I might be able to do so. So I didn't focus whatsoever on the training aspect just because I'm not familiar with it. It's not something that I personally get into on the training front. They do have a separate training program available. If you look at the community tab, you can see kind of what you get when you're in this trading community with Apteros, different dashboards you get, the journaling software. One thing they do offer for free, you don't even have to be signed up with them. If you want, go to the community tab, sign up for the daily key levels and insights. You can email all this great information. And again, that's free for anybody, so you can come here and sign up. So now I just want to switch over to my website. Like I said, I wrote out basically everything I just told you is written out here in this article if you want to revisit it. So let's compare Apteros to the other funded trader programs that I'm familiar with at this point, namely TopStep, OneUp, UProfit, LeeLoo, and Earn to Trade. These are all ones that I've gone through. I've been funded with 4 out of 5 of these. I've even managed to keep a few of these funded accounts, believe it or not. So I feel like I'm pretty well versed in the experience with each of those, and I am taking them as a whole. Yes, again, I mentioned before, I'll mention again, I know they have different rules, both on the evaluation side and on the funded side, but I think as a whole, they're similar enough that we can compare them as a group to Apteros, who is a little bit different from them. So some of the pros that I see of Apteros versus all these other firms. So I said it before, I'm going to say it again. To me, this alone is kind of something I'm very interested in. Mentoring, coaching, and the assessment. You know, they do have a Futures Friday Q&A with the desk. So the first one is the mentoring, the coaching, and the assessment. To me, that is honestly worth quite a bit. If you are serious about futures trading and really want to grow as a trader, I mean, just personal opinion, but I really think you need to go the extra level. You can go in as many chat rooms as you want to, read as many forums as you like. I do all that stuff, but really having one-on-one kind of coaching and mentoring is going to go just so much further towards developing you as a trader. So again, premium product, you get premium benefits. The commission and profit split when considered together, so that's the 60-40, but at a much lower commission rate, so you end up actually keeping more of your money. The ability to scale up your account size, again, all 3 of these are really just great things. So again, you know, it's fantastic, like, that I have various funded accounts, but, and I'm sure some of you do as well, but we are kind of limited, right? You pass an account which has a max of 6 contracts, you're going to be limited to 6 contracts always. With Apteros, demonstrate you're a great trader, you're going to grow your account and have more availability to trade bigger size. The Trader View Gold's little benefit in there, I think that's a perk, obviously. Like I said, I use Trader View, I think it's great. So the fact that the number of contracts is based on margin is like the real world. So I mean, it's not just the fact that the number works out well in my favor, where I could, I mean, I'm using the 30-year bond as an example, where I could trade 14 if I want. It's not so much that I can, it's the fact that it is like the real world. I have my own brokerage account. My own broker doesn't tell me you can trade 6 contracts and up to 6 contracts ever. No, it's all based on how much money I have on there. So this program is very much based on how kind of real brokerage account would work. And then side benefit, of course, those free insights I mentioned. You can go, I have a link here if you want to go sign up for those, totally free. So cons of Apteros Trading, it is quarterly withdrawals. Anywhere else like that I've been through, it's either usually weekly or monthly withdrawals. It kind of goes hand in hand with the aspect of growing your account over time. They aren't looking for somebody who's going to, you know, make $1,000 this week and withdraw it, and make $1,000 and withdraw it. They want somebody who is in it for the long run, wants to grow and build up an account. So if the money is your kind of main and only motivation, it might not be for you. If growing and becoming a great trader and kind of building a career for yourself is, I mean, pair that with the coaching mentoring. I've said it 20 times probably, but I think this is probably a good avenue to go. So another, I put it as a con, but it kind of goes hand in hand. It's really, it just goes with kind of their overall philosophy. You don't know what you're going to get when you pass in terms of, so what I mean by that is take 2 traders, the guy who does, you know, reaches the goal in 3 days and then just coasts for 27 versus the person who is slow and steady and really demonstrates ability. In the other prop firms, you both get the same account. You both get the same reward. Well, with Apteros, they're going to say, no, the person who actually demonstrated their ability to trade properly and over time, they're going to get a much bigger reward. They're going to be cut loose with a bigger account, more contracts, all of those things. You have to be okay if you go the Apteros route with knowing that you're being evaluated throughout the entire process, not just on the end results. And then I listed out a few differences. I don't think they're pros or cons, they're just differences between the two companies. So obviously 30 trading days instead of 10 to 15 with all the other firms. Like I wrote here, longer doesn't necessarily mean it makes it any tougher or any worse. It goes hand in hand with everything I just said. They're really looking to evaluate a trader and they want a bigger sample size to do that. It is more of a formal evaluation process. You're not just like, here's the black and white rules, hit this target, trade this number of days, you pass, you get this. Again, I'm not saying the other firms are bad in any means. I'm a big fan. I've gone through several of them. But Apteros is looking for somebody who does want to kind of do more the demonstration of ability side. And I think that does probably speak to a lot of you out there. I know it speaks to me. Like, I'm someone who, whatever I'm involved with, trading or otherwise in life, I want to be the best I can at it. I think though, and just my experience and talking with a lot of traders and whatnot, there's a lot of people who aren't. They just want the easy road. They want the quickest way to the goal line. This probably isn't going to be for you, to be honest. And then third difference I listed is the fee. I mean, it's going to be a little bit higher than you're used to seeing with some of the other prop firms. You're automatically paying for 2 months. Again, though, don't get hung up on the $50,000 valuation equals X amount of dollars per month. Really, $50,000 with Apteros represents a lot more possibility in terms of contract size, etc., than a notional $50,000 account with, someone else, but really you're limited to 5 contracts, which really isn't a $50,000 account, regardless of what they call it. So all of that said, I know this is a long video, guys. Thanks for sticking around. That's why I put the timestamps down below. All right, guys, so thanks for sticking through this entire video. Let's get to the conclusion. What do I think of Apteros? I mean, I've already kind of gone through what I think of it. Is it something that I would personally recommend? Would I do it myself? I'm pretty sure you have a good idea already. I've definitely had a change of heart when it comes to Apteros. I give them a world of respect for changing their program. They really took the feedback from the market, revamped their entire program, but they didn't give up their core kind of values that they're after. They're looking for those quality traders who really have the ability to grow over time while still making it accessible to people to try out. So I recommend it if you're serious about trading. You're going to embrace the mentoring, you're going to embrace the coaching, you're going to embrace the entire process. If you're someone who's just looking for a quick, nope, I just want to take an evaluation, pass it as quick as I can, get funded, and I'll go from there, then it's probably not for you. Myself, I'm definitely interested in this, I would say. I feel like from 2 points of view, one, I feel like I'm kind of done as close to as much as I can on the other evaluation companies. I only have one left to pass, and once I pass them all, where would I go from there anyways? And as well, I personally, I already mentioned, I like to be the best at anything I do. I've already started working with a coach, so the idea of working with a firm that provides mentoring and provides coaching and risk assessment, and I can grow with them, is definitely appealing to me. So I am very strongly considering trying out for Apteros. I'm not going to be starting tomorrow or anything. I mentioned before, I kind of have a big move coming up. So after I get settled, I'm really thinking about trying out kind of later in Q3 of 2021 and giving it a try. And most certainly, I will document the process of going through Apteros the same as I have with any of the trader evaluation programs, so you can see it firsthand. Maybe some of you will wait and see how that goes for me. I would definitely say I'm leaning towards giving it a try. I'm really interested in this. I think it's worth trying out for. So at the end of it all, guys, I will leave you with that. You can make your own decisions. Go to their website, read what they're all about, read my review, rewatch the video if you care to. Be sure to subscribe. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.